Greetings, Ravens. This is Destructulus. If you've watched any of my recent videos, like my PvP match analyses, you know that I've lately been lamenting my slow Tetrapod's struggle against fighting rifle kites. Well, today we may finally be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, as I've made some adjustments to my build and playstyle and my tactical decision-making, and it seems to be helping a lot against rifle kites. So this is a series of matches from one of my ranked sessions the other day that went really well, and we fight several what I would consider proper rifle kites, as well as several general kiting playstyle builds. So as you see here, our first match is up against a lightweight rifle kite. Not quite the actual meta build, since he's using Firmeza legs instead of Noctrier, so the lack of jumping ability is going to hurt him a little bit. But still, it's a good test for our changes, I think. These are just something of a preliminary result rather than, confirmation that my build now works. But, I think it's progress. In this first round, he still kind of smacks me down a little bit, so I'll just use that to talk about the changes I've made to the build. As you can see, I'm running Zook missiles, whereas before I had the P08 Duo 3s, so that's the Duo 3s with the kind of staggered firing cycle. In order to field the Zooks, I had to reduce the EN load, so I went from Ephemera arms back to Melander C3, and I'm using the Mind Alpha head for the lower EN load. Now I've switched to the Alpha head because the Mind Alpha has just such a crappy scan range, and I really want a longer scan range so I can lock on the Zooks at longer distance behind cover. So as you can see, he got an early lead with a pretty rough start for us, but we managed to close the distance still, just by hitting him with manual aims. So that brings me to the second point, as I've been trying to manual aim a lot more, both with the Fasan and the explosive thrower. Because if you can get those manual aimed explosive throwers, they often don't see it coming, and even just hitting that once or twice makes a huge difference over the course of the match, because it puts a lot of stagger on them at once. So we couldn't quite bring it back from the rough start there. But this, the next two matches are going to go a little different. As you can see, at the start of the match, I'm really just trying to book it to this facility over in the corner of the map, because it's kind of the only useful cover against a rifle kite matchup, since, a lot of times you may want to play cover around that little building in the middle of the map, but they can just fly over it. But here, if they fly over the buildings, they hit the map boundary, and they have to fight you in CQC. So there's a good manually aimed explosive thrower with that one. But again, you really only need a couple of them to hit, as long as you can actually maintain the stagger. But you can see the Zooks putting in work there too, adding to the stagger and sustaining it. Still kind of hard to keep the stagger up, but as long as I, stay patient and don't chase, continually running into his rifles, we'll get another opportunity. And I'm finding that just landing these manual aims just does so much damage to them because they're so squishy. You almost don't even need a stagger punish. And I'm staying so far back that he's having a hard time landing rifle shots. So at extreme distance, you actually have the advantage against a rifle kite because the Fasan has that huge AoE blast. I think we're seeing the weakness of the Firmeza legs here, because he's finding it hard to get off the ground in time and stay off the ground. And now we're going to see the usefulness of these buildings for cover, so we can kind of force a CQC engagement as the clock is running down. Ball's in your court, buddy. Come and get me. After all, what is best in life? Is it not to play AP lead against the rifle kite, to see them driven to race against the clock, to hear the lamentations as you crushed them in CQC? Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Off we go into the wild blue yonder once again. Whew, talk about securing an early AP lead. My goodness, he ate the entire thing. Kind of surprised you didn't see it coming, honestly. So we're just going to run the same playbook. He is kind of, you know, making the mistake of getting a little too close, but again, you know, maybe he kind of has to, because when he gets far away, we just hit him with those manually aimed Fasans. But playing it close, in close range, definitely doesn't seem to be working out for him either. Not doing a bad job of dodging his missiles this time. Those plasmas still get me in midair though if I don't keep moving. See that little split missile coming in? Use the radio tower. And that's all she wrote. So once again, this guy is definitely not as aerial as your typical Noctrier rifle kite, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. But still, I'm finding, you know, I think working in more manual aims is a sound tactic, and definitely requires more practice, so I can get more consistent with it, and hopefully continues to improve my odds against rifle kites. So for this match, we've got the Harris Coral Missile mid-weight rifle kite, and while they're not as kitey as, you know, the typical meta Noctrier type, this is a build that has, you know, typically given me a lot of difficulty, and so it's very exciting to start seeing some results in this matchup as well. See right there, normally they would have, you know, dodged right out of that manual aim, or right out of that explosive thrower if it was traditionally locked on. And see the soups putting in work. You know, it seems like they kind of forget about them. They sweep around from the side and put in quite a bit of damage and stagger. I lost track of him there for a second. And he made a mistake by stancing there, because I can trade that with him all day long. So pretty solid first match, and you know, just having the damage from that one manual aim put him that much closer to getting destroyed. Let's see if we can replicate the performance. It is a little bit hard to judge distance. I think that was the soups that got him there, not the explosive thrower. I find that if I hang out... Ooh. Sniped him on the ground. Just another example of those manually aimed Fasans coming in clutch. But anyway, as I was saying, I find it hard to judge distance with the manual aim, since the meters display disappears, which is kind of obnoxious, but I guess maybe manually aiming would be OP if you still knew how many meters away they were. Those soups seem to be, you know, even if they don't hit, they're kind of forcing movement. They kind of force them to come in towards me. And there, they did some damage. So they're really putting in quite a lot of work. That damage adds up over the course of a match. Another big hit. That was like 500 damage. Got him with that manual aim right there. Boom, boom. Sick combo. And as long as I play carefully, it's going to be hard for him to make up that difference. So see, he's tempted to come in close because he's behind. Nail him with the explosive thrower.
AP at 50%.
Oh, something going on with your connection there, pal? Oh, you know, we had this stable connection for the entire match, and now, you know, right when you're about to lose, you start rubber banding all over the place. That's so weird. I wonder what could possibly be going on. You know, maybe he said a little prayer to the lag spirits. Please, please let me land this double Harris charge shot into the Korra missile combo to finish him off and snag the win, please. Well, not today, bucko. Now, while this opponent is not a rifle kite, as you will see if you watch till the end of the match, the manual lane Fasan is going to come in absolutely clutch once again. Okay, hey, calm down. We can talk about this. I should not lead into the kick punish straight away when I have a Fasan charge like that, because you can't combo off of it. It's a really bad habit of mine that I need to, kick. See what I did there? I don't know why he doesn't just spam neutral Kurosawa at me at this point. You know, you'd think he'd take a hint after all these near Fasan misses at long range, but I guess he's going to make a different choice. Let's see how that works out for him. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. You know, it's not that I even necessarily blame him for playing AP lead in this situation. It's just, you know, kind of, not a great plan, as Tony Stark says. I mean, he even had a Drano for crying out loud. Just pop me with the Drano or something. I don't know. This did not seem like the best move. But, you know, GG. We'll see how this next match goes. Sharp eyes, Hound. He must have scanned me. I don't think he could have caught sight of me. Heavy Crab gives to your assault armor the same consideration that Honey Badger gives to literally anything.
50%.
I thought this guy did really good, considering he has 2 stance weapons. Kind of felt like the match should not have been that close. But he definitely capitalized on any and all mistakes that I made. So GG. Here we go, another proper rifle kite. You know, maybe you wouldn't consider this meta with the mined beta legs, since they're a little bit heavier than Noct. And even though he's only in B rank, it's still a very challenging matchup. Definitely not to be taken lightly. And as we'll see, I feel like this guy plays a little better than your average B ranker, so it leads me to believe maybe he hasn't played in a while and is getting back into it or something like that, because he definitely makes some moves throughout the match that I typically only see from more experienced players. So once again, I'm trying to be patient and wait for or set up good manual aim opportunities when I'm not shooting my Fasan into the sky like a scrub. And it just took us a little too long to get back on him, so that stagger falls off. And here I think... see, look, he dodged the manually aimed explosive thrower. I feel like typically only more experienced players will do that, because they have to watch... He was watching for the animation, so even though he didn't get the beep beep warning, he saw the animation telegraph it, and got out of the way. Our Zook's putting in some work again, coming in from the side. Yeah, I don't know why. I must have been getting antsy for a hit or something. Sometimes the Fasan can hit them in midair, but it takes very careful timing. Now, I don't know about chasing right here. Got him with the manual aimed explosive thrower that time. And, you know, the chase might have paid off if he hadn't gotten the stagger right there. Because I think my plan was to shoot him on the ground with the Fasan, and that probably would have clinched the match for us, or the round. So he got us that first round, but he won by timeout with a pretty good chunk of AP left, so I was definitely feeling like it was winnable. You know, if we can just continue to be careful and really choose our shots, and really choose our moments to chase. Lucky bazooka hit there, and then we tagged him on the ground, and that is a huge combo. There's not going to be any coming back from that. With these rifle kites, that's really all you need is one combo, and then it's practically GG. So presumably, he's going to be a lot more cautious in this final phase. That's usually what happens. You get them one round, and then they play really cautious. It's hard to stick anything to them after that. We got that good manual aim, though. Trying to press the advantage here. I think he's going to get that stagger reset, though. Oh, we got it with the Fasan when he ran out of energy. That's what I'm trying to wait for these days, is wait for them to run out of energy and land, because then they can't get away from the Fasan. That was a nice mid-air hit with the Fasan right there. Kept the stagger up. And he just didn't see the bazooka coming, I guess. Too slow on the dodge. Now that we have a solid AP lead, it's time to play a little more defensively. Use cover to block his missiles and just take pot shots at him. I should have held the Fasan, because look, he goes to the ground again. I could have ended it right there. Bad habit to keep taking those mid-air Fasan shots, though you did see that sometimes it pays off. You just have to get the timing right. could have hit him on the ground with the Fasan there if I'd been paying attention. But I'm not feeling too anxious here, given the significant AP lead. Pretty tough spot for him, not a lot of options. And the constant barrage of soups are forcing him to move around. And I think I forgot that I even shot those soups that finally got him. So yeah, the soups really seem to be effective against kites, at least during this play session. Okay, talk about a change of pace. Heavy double Zimmerman. I believe he's got a shield on his other shoulder there. So shield and a 10 rack. He's going to have about 13k AP, I'd guess, to my 12. Similar defensive profile. He probably has even a little bit stouter defenses, because I'm rocking the Melander C3 arms and the Mind Alpha head to his Varel head. But I definitely have the stability advantage with 2500 to his, I don't know, what, 1900 or 2k or whatever it is. So usually I don't have too much problem with double Zimmermans, but the heavies are an exception. I still struggle with them pretty regularly. And I think you're going to see me being pretty sloppy in this match. Yeah, I had my pulse armor up and I wasn't pressing the advantage. Big mistake. But that Fasan to the face is a really huge, really useful tactic against double Zimmermans. Since they kind of want to hang out close to you, if you catch them with that Fasan at point-blank range, they'll just sit in the AoE bubble, and it does a tremendous amount of stagger. Now, I remember in this second round, I get off to a really sloppy start. Sometimes going from manual aim back to lock-on, I just get totally discombobulated and can't reorient myself, and they take advantage of it, which is what's going to happen here. Like, I'm trying, you see I'm going between soft lock and hard lock, and I can't keep track of them. I keep getting I keep messing up the input to switch lock-on modes. Just terrible. I've barely touched him, and he's got us down to 4k, 3k AP. Ridiculous. Alright, little stagger punish, and run away! But I will say, this is going to be a lesson in never give up, because watch this. He's already almost staggered, make him pop his pulse armor. Now his pulse armor's already gone, and we've got some distance on him. Another Fasan to the face, look at that. His shield can't block it. But no way. I contest that shield deployment. Refs, play back the tapes. He didn't have time to do that. He didn't have time. I don't believe it. As you can imagine, I was so disappointed that I did not get that comeback because of that stupid shield. So I came into this next match looking for some payback. Didn't flood my stagger punish that time, fortunately. Managed to avoid the punish myself. Pulse arm, the timely pulse armor. And another good punish. You know, I'm just proud of myself for not rushing in with the kick when I had the Fasan charge. Yeah, now it's our turn. You know, last time he worked us over. Now this time we're gonna work him over. Oh gosh, he is just about bringing it back here. Good shield. Pretty good shield work from him, but he wasn't expecting that last little bit. If he shielded that explosive thrower, he might have got us. That might have been GG. Well, it is GG, just, you know, for me. But GG to him as well. And we're back to the kites with a Kasuar rifle machine gun kite. These guys usually give me so much trouble. I just, any kind of Kasuar, I just cannot, like, my brain cannot compute their movement. Like, figure out where they're going to be. And then, of course, you know, the FCS struggles whenever they go above you like that and bounce all over the place. And he's got those pulse missiles smacking me around. I'm doing pretty good with dodging his act missiles, though. Need to back off here, try not to get staggered. We almost got reset, too. Should probably just assault boost away and try to get the reset. I think that's why I'm hanging out behind the building. Okay, we got a pretty good reset there. That was not bad. Baited him to come in close, got him with that Fasan. You know, maybe if I'd manual aimed that explosive thrower. But again, the soups are putting in more work. And perfect. Kind of a lucky bazooka, you know, usually they dodge those or the FCS can't keep up with them, but...
AP at 50%.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a little mistake here if I recall. Yep, bazooka, and then I pop my pulse instead of punishing. I think because I was about to get staggered, I was shooting that bazooka as a Hail Mary, and I already intended to pop the pulse armor, so it was kind of too late by the time I saw the hit. But yeah, that went very well. Usually I don't work those guys over that well. Maybe it's, you know, he's only an A0. Maybe it's because he's a lower rank. You know, he's not playing as kitey as he could, or he's just failing to get his dodges, but still, you know, progress is progress. Usually this type of build just works me over relentlessly. So in this round, we're going to see he seems like he adapts to me a little bit more. It's going to be a lot harder to land anything on him. You know, maybe he just... maybe he was kind of comfortable the first round, you know, he saw a big slow Tetrapod and thought, I don't have to work too hard, I can just, you know, jump around, this guy's not going to land anything on me. But now he's being a little more serious, you know, now he's locked in a little more. Almost got him with that manual aimed bazooka, though. If I'd been ready, he was stationary on the ground there, I could have hit him with the Fasan, but I wasn't ready. Yeah, probably just need to back off here, because I'm not going to hit him, and I'm about to stagger.
AP at 50%.
Good manual aim, though. Oh, if I'd been a little faster on the Fasan, he would have taken all the damage while his pulse armor popped. You know, all things considered, we're not doing terrible. We're not too far behind in the AP race. Now, that's... we lost a lot of ground there. And unfortunately, we won't get to see how it would have ended. He almost certainly had that match, so I don't think... you know, that doesn't seem like an Alt F4. Also, since he immediately disappeared instead of going stationary for a second, seems like maybe a server-side error. So unfortunately, we won't get to see the third round. Alright, Flamethrower Attache. You know, I don't know if you would call this a kite. It certainly felt like I was fighting a kite. But I guess that's just what you do to a Feral Tetrapod, is you kite them, because they're unstaggerable bricks in CQC. But yeah, anyway, he wants to build up your stagger and ACS anomaly with that Flamethrower and Attache, then come in with the Sweet 16 for the punish. But in the meantime, you know, as you can see, being very, very kitey, just peppering me with that Attache from the distance, waiting for his moment. He was gonna get me with that 16, but I managed to stagger him first, it looks like. Jeez, it felt like an annoying build to fight. I mean, but let's be real, any build with the Flamethrower is annoying to fight because you can't see anything. So now he's kind of forced back into kiting because I just do so much damage in CQC, and I'm happy to let him do it at this point since I have a nice AP lead and I can kind of just take pot shots at him from afar. So he's going to try and come back into flamethrower range and make something happen. Because that flamethrower does, especially in conjunction with the Attache, does a lot of damage really fast, a lot faster than you think it would. All things considered, the first match was pretty close. Not having a lot of luck landing manual aims in this match. The spring chicken jumps are so erratic. He's using cover really well, getting under the bridge. Oh, but we landed that crucial Fasan, but for some reason our bazooka whiffed after he was staggered. I hate it when they do that. It's like the target is stationary and the FCS can't figure it out. Didn't have any punish ready for that stagger. But still a pretty close match considering how fast he can put out damage when he gets in close. And how hard it is to keep track of him when he's jumping around with flames in my face. And he just consistently manages to get staggered when I don't have anything to punish him. So, like I said, very kitey. You know, I don't know if he normally plays this way or if it's just because my build is so tanky that he's adjusting his playstyle accordingly. I've played with him in customs a couple of times, and I think he does tend to be a little more in your face when you're not playing a big fat tanky Tetrapod. So I'm just trying to time out his pulse armor here, get into the sky, and fortunately he runs right into the explosive thrower. Alright, with this guy, in this first round I may have gotten a little bit overconfident. Just looking at his loadout and his lightweight. Looks like he's got, I think that's a Rebula on the back, so he wants to do kind of like a coral rifle swap with the Ludlow for stagger sustain. But he's not running a pulse buckler. Instead, he's got missiles on the back. So I thought, oh, you know, potentially 2 stance weapons. I can punish him for that. Nothing to worry about, right? It looks like he's like, I can't tell if he's swapping every shot, but he is piecing me up with those things, doing a lot of damage. Oh gosh, look at that. Then all of a sudden, where'd my AP go? And it's an even match again.
AP at 30%.
Let's create a little more distance, huh? So it's not quite so easy to get spammed down by those coral shots. That was way closer than it should have been. But I guess it must have intimidated him or something, got in his head, or something like that, because he's going to keep his distance a lot more this time. Which is fine by me. You know me, if you're going to hang back, I will happily just sit back here and practice my manual aims on you. Even throwing some Hail Mary bazookas out there. Ooh, that one was close. I guess he wants to try and manual aim with me, but not a great idea when you have to stance to do it. Now, like I said, I'm happy to just, you know, sit up here and plink at you. Oof, he ran right into it, can't believe it. A little too far away for the explosive thrower punish, though. Oh, and again, it looked like the residual explosion hit him on that one. You know, at this point I should just stay in manual aim and see if I can finish the match that way, but, you know, I don't want to lose points. I was on a really big winning streak during this session, so, you know, I didn't want to throw it just to flex on somebody. Never underestimate your opponent. You know, with those coral weapons, you could have brought it back real fast if I started being sloppy. Here we have another Attache build, this time with a coral missile on the back. And again, this one feels like fighting a kite. Felt like I was chasing a kite this match. I don't know if it would really be considered a kite, but my goodness, look how floaty he is. I'm like, come down on the ground so I can shoot you. And I think he knows. He knows that's exactly what I want, so he's trying to stay airborne as long as possible. Still tagged him a little bit there. Definitely need to work in some more manual aim explosive throwers so that to avoid the beep warnings. But not doing too bad so far. Obviously, it's nothing like fighting a true rifle kite, like a knock trier or something. He's much heavier and slower, harder for him to stay totally evasive. But he nailed me with that coral missile there, so it kind of felt like it could turn around at any moment if he gets a good combo. You know, if he staggers me as the coral missile comes in and then hits me with the javelin, that would be huge. Turn things around in an instant. Boy, this feels familiar. It looks like we're just going to do the same dance we did the first round. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't shoot the Fasan there. I could have gotten a good snipe. Managed to dodge that coral missile in the nick of time. Finally, a timely pulse armor on my part. When my bar is full, but before the stagger, so I don't eat an entire stagger punish. You know, there's actually been a number of times where I've fought kind of attache kites. It's actually kind of a decent kiting weapon. Though this match maybe is not the best example. I've definitely gotten chewed up by attache kites before. You know, I think the match was closer than it seems, again, because if he was able to get one of those coral missiles, that would have turned things around in a hurry. Would have made it a lot more nail-biting. But I just happened to do a pretty decent job of dodging them that time. And for the final match for today's video, we've got a shotgun Wuerger, or Wuerger. I feel like it should be Wuerger. Seems very Germanic to me. Along with vertical missiles, vertical plasmas that is, and a coral missile. Pretty dangerous combination. And I did not even see those vertical plasmas. I think I just didn't even notice when we shot them out. Pretty good start though, although he got me with that coral missile because I was focused on getting that stagger punish. So it is still an even match. Oh, but he nails me with the Wuerger. Excuse me, the Wuerger. The Wuerger! Yeah, he nailed me with the Wuerger. And again with the Wuerger! I feel pretty bad about seeing the Wuerger coming. so they always get me with that hit stun. I believe it'll mini stun even a tanky Viral Tetra. We almost bring it back, almost, but he gets the kick. Yeah, next time we shall have to watch out for the Wuerger. You will not find it so easy to micro-stun me with your Wuerger this time, mein Freund. Freund? Is Freund friend in German? I think it is. Might be misremembering. Oh well, that recording's staying in. Just trying to use this pillar to kind of keep him from getting a good shot off at me, burn out his energy. And almost screwed myself over there staying in manual aim for too long. Managed to bring it back with a good kick and a good bazooka Fasan combo, even though it wasn't a fully charged Fasan. We've got a marginal lead here. And now we're just gonna kick spam for the win. Ah, he got me with the Wuerger again! But it was too little too late. You see, I can inflict microstuns with the kicks. And again with the Wuerger. Gonna do it again. Haha! The Wuerger did not land that time.
50%.
So now we're just trying to stay under this platform here. And force him to come in, get a good combo. And the Fasan finishes him off. And that does it for today's video. This was a really rewarding session. It was not including that disconnected match, it was a 10-win streak all in one session, which brought us into A2. And to me, it was noteworthy mainly for the kite victories. Now, maybe, you know, they were kind of lower ranked kite players. They weren't using strictly meta builds. I'm sure that all helped. But even so, I still tend to lose those matchups, so this is definitely progress. And I really think locking in on the Fasan manual aims really helps to put pressure on them and tempt them to make risky plays, because if they hang back with an AP lead, you know, it's kind of like, in their mind, at any moment, that could disappear if I land one good Fasan. And so it kind of, you know, puts pressure on them to not just play AP lead as ruthlessly as they could. At least that's my theory so far. Going to keep practicing it, and definitely going to keep practicing the manual aimed explosive throwers, which still need a lot of work. But those were definitely making a big difference as well. Definitely saw the Soups putting in some work. I may want to play around with some other missile types. I kind of want to play with the Truenos, but I'm not sure if they have enough uptime. Anyway, that'll all be in a future video. If you liked these matches and commentary, I would greatly appreciate your algorithmic engagement, giving me a thumbs up or a comment or whatever. No pressure. And until next time, Ravens.